And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with CBD, and we've
Oh
got our
man.
guest, Sean Barber from Barbershop 59.
I can't even take you seriously right now. You're killing me over here. You gotta warn me on things like this.
Um, let's just kick it off and kind of. This is what we're going to be talking about today, guys. I don't know why it's listed as a thriller.
We're missing the actual screen share. There we go. There we go.
Now we got magic. Now we got magic.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Bills Chiefs thriller. Yeah, there's only one thriller, and that goes to Michael Jackson. All right. We're going to talk about 13 Seconds. No, not the movie. We're going to talk about 13 Seconds. We're going to talk a little bit about overtime. This is really hard. I'm going to let you guys know, CVD. I may let you run with this show because this is kind of hard. What went right for the Chiefs? What went wrong for the Bills? The 7 stages of grief. Any Buffalonian knows that this is what we live by, the 7 stages of grief.
Oh Lord.
Obviously, there was the bet and what is next for both teams. So, as you would say in the workplace, that is our agenda.
I'm excited. I don't know about y'all. I'm excited to talk, recap the game. I'm excited to talk Bills football. I'm excited to talk Chiefs. Thus far, we had a lot of Bills Mafia land here in Kansas City. We welcomed them with open arms, a lot of barbecue, a lot of tailgating, a lot of tables got broken. Those folding tables, we were selling for about $50 a table. They still was flying off the rack. So the Bills Mafia, man, they came, they saw, they didn't conquer, but they handled their business, man. I think the fan base represented well.
Yeah. I haven't shaved. I haven't shaved. I'm in mourning. All the nice kudos and kind words to Bills Mafia.
Well, I didn't have any skin in the game. I'm not going to give you kudos to your Buffalo Bills, and I think it was a phenomenal football game. I didn't have any skin in the game one way or another, and it was a great way to end the weekend of football because it was a tremendous game. Terry. So it was a tremendous football game.
All right.
When those boxes come up, are those like Bills Mafia fans that are trying to get on the bandwagon for the Chiefs, or what are those from those boxes?
Oh, that won't happen out of Terry. Terry is a diehard Bills.
I was going to tell her if she wanted to, she can just put at Sean Barber 59, send me her Twitter handle, and we'll make room for Chiefs Kingdom for any Bills fans that want to continue to.
I was waiting. I was so waiting for
man. I'm throwing out the right-handed fellowship to Terry, and you're going to that ain't right. That was just
again, as we talked about the topics, there is the 7 stages of grief. Stevie killing me over there. There is the 7 stages of grief, and we as Buffalonians, Bills Mafia, we know it all too well.
Okay.
It actually goes back, and it goes back to I think 1921, right? The AAFL, right? The Staley Swindle, Stevie D. Look it up because they talk about the exhibition game. I almost fell out my chair when I saw that.
They actually called it an exhibition game.
Yes, they did. It's the controversy over the exhibition game. All right, 13 seconds. Right. Thanks, Terry. Terry said she will die a Bills fan. Indeed.
And be reborn. Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Don't. Yeah. I got a trigger finger that is itching. Anything that says Kansas City.
You got me scrunched. I don't know what to say.
Hey, is that mute button? Do you get is it like a red flag? You only get 2 of them, and then if you get
booted, then that's all.
I mean, if you justify for 2 of them, you get a third one.
Well, we're in the final 13 seconds. Why don't we just say that, right? So this is coming from upstairs. All right. We all know what happened, right? We all saw what happened. It's so hard, right? I give 48 hours. All right, this is how this goes. I give 48 hours after a loss, right? Because you have to compartmentalize exactly what happened, right? And a lot of times the responses, the feedback that you get are coming back from people who are non-Bills fans, right? Non-football fans, non-diehard football fans. And so they just don't get it, right? And so I need 48 hours. Don't patronize me. Don't say, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that crap, right? I don't want to hear it. And then, others are like, well, better next time. I don't want to hear that either. So instantly I needed 48 hours. And I need more than that, right? I really do. And we'll get to the 7 stages. But when we look at those 13 seconds, first of all, being a man, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations, Tom. Right. As hard as that is to say, right? Congratulations, right? I will admit, it was one hell of a game. It was one hell of a game, from beginning to end. Right? It was a 15-round fight. If you guys are old enough, if our watchers are old enough to remember, right, the great fights, not this nonsense that's coming around now, right? The great fights. This was Ali Frazier, 15 rounds, right? That's what this was. And you have 2 of the young guns at quarterback that put on a display, put on a clinic that some try to say that it rivals Manning and Brady. Not even close. Not even close. Yeah, at the end of the day, when you look at the titles and you look at the ring, sure, you can say that they did something. But let me tell you, what went on that field was just magic. And I give Mahomes his just due. I thought leading up to this year, I was a little sour at Mahomes, whether it be for his just his demeanor on the field, whether it was for some of his play that I thought was, he was riding on what he had done before and just very arrogant and cocky. But when it came time to play for this game, you can see he was all business, and I give him a lot of credit. With all that said, Josh was just the man. Just absolutely. This postseason was the man, right? When you look at his touchdown to interception ratio, what was it, 12-0? It was something ridiculous, right? And when you look at him running, right, provided a whole new element. So, it was really a pleasure to watch. But back to 13 seconds. And back to how Buffalo likes to just play with your emotions, right? Right? You guys remember the movie Friday? Don't play with my emotions, Smokey. Well, you have the lead, you give the lead up, you get the lead back, right? And you think you got it, right? You got it with 13 seconds. And being a true Bills fan, being a true Buffalonian, we all knew, oh, wait a minute. There's still time on the clock. And let me tell you, my phone is blowing up. Oh, what a great game. Yes. No, people, no. Right? This game isn't over until there's 4 zeros and until they say the game is officially over, because we've seen every which way to lose. And as that started to unfold, there were different things that were taking place that you just kind of scratched your head. You had Tony Romo questioning, right? Are they lining up to kick deep? You don't want to kick it deep. Well, I'm saying to myself, don't kick it deep, right? Don't kick it deep.
Yeah.
And
that's the first thing I looked at. Who was kick returner? I wanted to know who the kick returner was.
Absolutely. And you have timeouts. You look at that. And then you watch the ball just sail deep into the end zone. And you're like, okay, well, they're at the 25, right? 13 seconds. But you know, as a Bills fan, that's dangerous, right? No time went off the clock. That's dangerous. And then, Foles was a good hire, but we're not talking about Foles.
What's up, Coach Nagy?
That courtesy of Stevie D. That's your boy. But then you watch the first play, right? And you watch Hill just go across. And how, Sean, maybe you can help me out with this. I know he's the cheetah, but how does he get 19 yards in 5 seconds? 19 yards in 5. There's 8 seconds to go on the clock, and he went 19 yards, right?
He runs a 4.2.
But he cut all the way across and then went up some. I'm not blaming the clock manager, who maybe we do, but I'm not going there. But okay.
Sounds like you're going there.
No. Then the next play, you allow a 250-pound tight end to basically run a seam pass and get 20 yards on you in 5 seconds. Right? You're kicking this field goal with 3 seconds to go.
Wait until you hear the audio, because Kelsey was mic'd up in that game. And
I won't hear
I know you won't, right? But for fans, when you want to know what really happened, Kelsey, when you listen to
Steve,
the clip,
we can reenact it a little bit. I'll be Mahomes, you be Kelsey.
I just heard 10-10-10. Right?
Okay.
Kelsey kept saying 10-10-10.
Yeah.
Because of the matchup that they had.
Steve?
What?
Careful.
I'm gonna get gonged on this. I mean, what?
This is interesting. This is classic right here.
Right. Because I'm Kelsey, and he's just yelling 10-10-10 to Mahomes because he saw the coverage and he knew what they had with Hill. So he called 10-10-10. And then I don't know what Mahomes signaled back. I forget what the verbiage he said back.
You want to do it and say they overload 10. They overloading 10. I mean, they like triple. They triple guarding 10. Like he drawing all the coverage with him. And
so on that play, that 25-yard play to Kelsey, I think there was just a signal where he said, what did he say back to him?
So Kelsey was like, if they run that same coverage, I'm going to go ahead and press outside and run that seam. And then Mahomes like, you think they're going to run it again? He said, hey, man, if they do it, we should do it. And so as Mahomes is doing his signals, it's like red 10, do it. Said, hey. So he pretty much confirmed to Kelsey during the signal, like it's on, like do it. Go ahead and press it some extra yards before you go vertical.
So what somebody just said, Stevie D, you look like Robert Salah. especially in front of that jet background. And so then now you get the kick, and as a Bills fan, we already know that kick is good, right? You just know it because it just is our life, right? This is what we go through, right? And then the coin toss, that's apropos because that's what we go through. Let me take you back, as I said, and I'll just go for most of our listeners and subscribers, right? I'll take you back to the AFC Championship game against the Cincinnati Bengals,
I just want to say, there's only so much time in the show. So
you're not lying because this is our life, right? Derek Burrows gets tossed from the game, one of our top DBs at the time. Bruce Smith sacks Boomer Esiason, grabs him here by the neck, but they call it a face mask, changes the whole course of the game. We lose, right? Should have played the 49ers in Super Bowl. What would have been 25, 23?
No.
That would have been 23. Should have played them there. Following year, we played Cleveland. Driving down. This is the wild card game. Driving down. Ronnie Harmon, corner of the end zone. Ball's right in his hands, and Ronnie Harmon decides to drop it. Right, Ronnie Harmon from Iowa. Then,
calling out Iowa. Wow.
Then next play, Kelly throws to Clay Matthews. I don't know where Jim was throwing because Clay Matthews was staring him right in the eyes, and he just threw it right to him. All right, so
was Jim Kelly just dumbfounded and shocked that Harmon dropped?
Probably so. Probably so. Let's go to the next year, right? That's Super Bowl 25. We already know that. Then we go to the following year. That's Super Bowl 26. We already know what happened there. Then there's 27. We know what happened there. Then there's 28. We know what happened there. All right. If you have not died a slow death, right, over this 6-year period of time, let's go to the playoffs now where Flutie is taking the Bills under Wade Phillips, but now Wilson says, oh, wait, I want Rob Johnson to quarterback this team in this playoffs. Yes, we had the lead, and yes, Tennessee threw a forward pass, but there it is again, right? No time on the clock. Kevin Dyson running down there. Referees. This is the early inception of replay. This is when you guys remember when they had the big replay machine, but it was standing over by the stands. Sean, you still playing then when they had this? They and the referees would walk over right next to the fans, put their head underneath the little screen and sit there and watch it. Well, you know what they were doing in there. They were sitting there saying, how do we get out of here alive? So that's a forward pass. And if we call it a forward pass, they're going to come after us. Okay. So then they came out and they said the play stands, and they took off. Right? Gone. All right, so that's football. Let me go back to hockey. Yeah, we're playing the Stanley Cup against the Flyers. All of a sudden, you get fog. Right? I can't see a fog. We got one of the greatest teams out there. You got the French Connection out there playing the Broad Street Bullies. But Buffalo Life, yes, we lose. Right? We play against the Stars. They have got the greatest goalie in the world. Right? We hadn't been back to the Stanley Cup until then. Got the greatest goalie in the world. Brett Hull decides he's going to put his entire body into the blue paint, which you can't go into. They split a goal. Let's go to replay, right? Because we have to review this. But the Stars are out there throwing sticks and gloves and helmets and everything. They're already celebrating. Are we going to overturn this? No, right? It's Buffalo Life right there. Then you have when we are in the conference finals against the Carolina Panthers. Probably, again, one of the greatest Buffalo Sabre teams. And we lose our entire defense. We call up every single defenseman from the AHL to play in this Game 7. Right? Buffalo Life. This is Buffalo Life. So, when we get down to 13 seconds, as Buffalo fans, we already know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. But when Buckner goes to kick the field goal, we know it's good. When you go to call the coin toss, which Josh has never lost a coin toss this year until the opening coin toss, calls tails. Tails never fails. Yeah, tails failed. Then you go in overtime.
I think he called nine straight up until Sunday.
Was it 9?
Yeah, I think
your stars were not aligned with you that night.
And so then he's, calls it again in overtime, lost. Right? And then I just watched the defense. I think there were multiple things that happened in overtime. I think you had a defense that was gassed from a track meet between these two teams, right? It was almost you reached that climax at the fourth quarter, right? I think that the wind was let out when that kick went through those uprights to tie the game. And then you had the momentum, right? And momentum is real. Momentum is real. People can want to say. And when the Chiefs won that toss, they knew they were going to win.
Oh, my thought was whoever won the coin toss was going to win the game because both offenses couldn't be stopped. It was probably the most explosive amount of offense in NFL history in 2 minutes in the history of the game. I mean, what was it, 221 passing yards from the 2-minute warning to the end of the game?
It was. It's insane. And they were rolling. It was going to happen. And so it did. It just methodically, thanks to Pat, right, just ended quick, right? Just you threw to Tyreek Hill earlier in the game and let him run for 60, 70 yards. Just do it now. It ended quick. No, you methodically got down there, right? Just twisting that knife over and over, right? I think I created new words for probably not suitable for the dictionary. And when it happened, I just knew, right? I just knew. The funny thing is, and I don't know why I did that, as soon as it happened, I will never watch an opponent celebrate. Never. So instantly, as soon as Kelsey caught that, I saw I was going to catch it, turned it off. But I did have it on in another room. And I hear, oh, they're going to look at this one. So I'm quickly turning it on. I'm like, get back on. And then by the time I got it back on, they were like, oh, it's confirmed. Turned it off again, right? 13 seconds of just agony. Again, Sean, kudos to that. Kudos.
So, Sean, in your playing career, have you been in a similar moment in a playoff game or anything that was similar that you could say?
Not even close. Not similar, not close, not even in the same area code, not on the same planet. That game was one for the ages, man.
I mean, from a perspective of, all right, let me rephrase then. From a momentum, Vince mentioned the momentum factor. Have you ever had a game where against a rival and you had the lead, all of a sudden you had you took the lead late and you're like all pumped up, oh, we got this, right? And then all of a sudden you went to a tie game or a big play happened and then you won the
all right. So usually, Steve, with momentum, what happens is our team, our offense and defense is feeling the momentum. So we're stopping you on, 3 and outs. We're getting the ball. We're driving the field. We're kicking field goals. So our team is feeling the momentum. I don't think in this game it was a team. I think both offenses had the momentum, and the defense was just out there like on air. The offense was being run on air. Whoever had the ball in his hand was playing like 7-on-7. Wasn't really even paying attention to what the defense was trying to do because at this point, Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes was in the zone. And as you know from basketball, once you're in the zone, it's like the rim looks as big as a trash can. I mean, it becomes a dumpster, and you just throwing rocks into a dumpster. Things just opened up, and their vision just spread wide. They saw things open up, and they saw things. They were able to control our safeties and linebackers, and Pat was able to control your linebackers and safeties with their eyes to open up windows for big strikes downfield. So I don't think any team really had the true momentum in the sense of the team was feeling it. I think at a certain point in the game, maybe about halfway through the fourth quarter, both defenses looked at each other and said, "Hey, man, I just hope we have the ball last."
Yeah, I agree with that, right? I do.
Because I don't think the Buffalo offense ever felt a loss of momentum. No. Every fourth down they went for 4th and 4, 4th and 13, 4th and 2.
I think the defense did though. I think the defense. See, here's one thing that concerns me with Leslie Frazier and with just Sean McDermott. We'll talk about Sean McDermott, Sean. And where I talk about momentum is that they were coming in, I think, reading a little too much of the press clippings that they had the number one defense. Mahomes can be stopped. We've seen that, especially from some of the divisional rivals, right? And it's the way where you put players in position. Buffalo drafted Rousseau and Basham strictly for this game. They were there for this game. They realized that they needed to get a pass rush against Mahomes, and lo and behold, they get a little bit of pressure, and he takes off running. Now you have gaps, right? You have big holes and big gaps. Mahomes did some damage early, and then he stopped running, and he just started making plays with his feet, eluding the sack, getting away from the pressure, and making downfield passes. I think that once they realize that what transpired in regulation, I don't think that they had it with them. I think everything was gone. They didn't know what to do. They realized that they didn't stop him for 4 quarters, for 60 minutes. They couldn't stop him. And now they have to stop him at the most crucial time, and they don't know what to do. And that's where I'm talking about the momentum that I think they felt lost and done, right? Because you figure certain coverage, you're going to do certain things. Right, that's going to keep things in front of you. Next thing you know, he extends the play. There's a breakdown. A guy slips past, gets into a seam, gets into a zone, and then he's getting 15 yards. He's getting 20 yards, and that's where I equate that to momentum. I just think that they felt lost in that overtime.
Well, you can say the same thing for the Chiefs defense. Late in the game when it was at 4th and 13 and they scored a 27-yard touchdown, I feel like I saw defenders taking off their tape. Like the game is over as far as defense is concerned. Like, yeah, we got 13 seconds. If Pat can pull some magic, maybe, who knows, Hail Mary, but we ain't going to touch the field again.
Right.
And they didn't. And literally they didn't. So for them, they pretty much became a spectator and said, hey,
yeah,
Pat, we on your shoulders, bro. Take us to the promised land. Like, do what you do. Like Coach said, things looking grim. You got to be the Grim Reaper. And that's exactly what he did.
So there's a lot of talk about overtime. Now, in all fairness, Sean, Stevie D and I have had this conversation countless times, right? I'm a big proponent that regular season and postseason are 2 different animals.
Yes.
Right? And what you do in the regular season doesn't always translate to the postseason. And please hear me clear. I am not blaming anything except for the epic failure by Sean McDermott on this loss. Nothing but Sean McDermott. But the rule of overtime, everybody's starting to talk about it again. Keep in mind, same thing happened in Kansas City when they played New England.
2018.
Right? Nothing was changed, right? And something has to change, but I don't want it to change because Buffalo or because fans are crying because of this game. You have to change it because it's right. If you want to,
I thought they did change. I thought they did make minor changes, not the changes that were needed to be made, but I thought they made the change that year that unless you score a touchdown on a kick return or a safety, both teams get to possess the ball.
Was that in 18?
I thought that was changed. That was changed before 18 because the
that was changed before 18. So they literally, when Kansas City brought it up, it's a rules committee. They said no. Okay.
Buffalo had given some proposals to changing overtime before they got tabled, right? And you can hear all the excuses you want, right? Player safety, which I know is a crock. Sean, whole nother show we want to get you on for this one. There's a bunch of crock. They don't believe in player safety. So, why are you not changing, right? And I think there's other reasons to it. But what happens during the 16 or 17 game regular season? If you want to play college rules, then play college rules. If you want to play a 15-minute overtime and each team, current rules, right? If you score a touchdown or a safety, game's over, kick a field goal, or it ends at a tie, right? If you want to do that during the regular season, that's fine. And again, not sour grapes. Please hear me. Not sour grapes. But this system is an injustice to any team that was in the situation Buffalo was in, right? If Cincinnati and Kansas City go into overtime and Joe Burrow gets the ball first, it's an injustice to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? If Jimmy Garoppolo gets the ball first and Matthew Stafford doesn't get it, it's an injustice, right?
It's a fair play because I don't like Stafford.
But, we're talking about the playoffs, right? This is you're trying to get to the pinnacle, to reach that exhibition game. And to have it decided by a coin toss, and especially in this game, it really was a coin toss. It was a 50-50 shot. And we're saying that just flipping a coin is going to tell us who's the winner. That's crap. That is garbage, right? These teams put it on the line for 60 minutes. And to tell them that we're going to flip a coin. Now, somebody could say, like I saw, somebody said, well, then the defense has to stop them. Okay. we understand we're talking about two offensive juggernauts that I don't think there's a defense out there alive that was good.
And in this particular game, a defense did not have a shot.
None whatsoever.
If the score was 17-17 going into overtime, yeah, I could say, the team that got the ball first wasn't going to score a touchdown. But if anything indicated the last 2 minutes of the game, whoever touched that ball first was scoring to win the game. I mean, that's just the way it was playing out from what we saw at the end of the regulation.
So, Sean, what's your take? What is your take on the whole overtime?
So I've always thought that, like you said, like during the regular season, you can end up in ties. I mean, use whatever, shorten overtime to 10 minutes. I think that's the last adjustment they made a few years ago during the regular season. Again, if you end up in a tie, you end up in a tie in the regular season. And then in postseason, I think you should extend it back to 15 minutes and you just play out that extra quarter. After that extra quarter,
you play it all the way out, right?
Play it all the way out. And then after that extra
kickoffs, everything.
Yep.
That's Stevie D. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, Vince, you brought up a good point when we were talking the other day. It's like that first quarter, it's like it's the fifth quarter. We wouldn't even call it overtime, right? It's the fifth quarter. Yeah. If nobody scores, the game is score. It's they both score a touchdown, let's say, and it's 43-43. When you go to the second overtime, you can put in first team that scores wins the game because you had 15 minutes to get the job done. You couldn't get it done. And if you go to that, just so, player safety or fatigue, things like that, then you just do it to whoever scores first. I would be okay with that. But at least at the first 15 minutes, you play to the end.
At the end of a season, when you talk about postseason and you talk about do or die, go home the end of your season, I think that the NFL and the PA is okay with that being a scenario where you can extend the play. Player safety is no longer a priority when we're talking about ending your season and ending your pursuit of a championship. Because if you just say, all right, whoever got the most players that want to continue to play ends up winning, I guarantee all 53 will raise their hand, both hands up in the air. Like, I'll continue to play. I'll keep playing, to prove that we the better team. And so I think you just let them play another 15 minutes. And at that point, I'm really good at putting both teams, giving them the ball at the 35-yard line and making them score a touchdown and making them go for two. And then the other team gets a chance to do the exact same thing.
Sean, we'd still be watching the game.
Again.
Because the way they were going.
I ain't never had bad pizza, and I ain't never had no bad football when they playing like that. I would have loved to see another 2 hours of those two offenses going back and forth.
Yeah.
You never had bad pizza? Hey, I can't get past that. You've never had bad pizza.
No, I ain't never had no bad pizza. Stofers, all them taste good to me.
Oh boy, Stevie D's cringing over there. So let's talk about what went right for the Chiefs. Welcome back, welcome aboard, all that good.
What went right for the Chiefs? I mean, we got to start off during the season being able to get that number 2 seed.
Wait, hold on one second. Keep in mind, I have an itchy trigger finger.
I understand that. I didn't say anything about your squad. I said, they're in the regular season, have an opportunity to inch our way up. Obviously, that winning 9 out of 10 games to finish the year, put us in that number 2 seed. So that when the Tennessee Titans fell, you knew home field advantage ran through Arrowhead. You can basically say that was the difference in the game. Definitely the home field advantage, the sea of red, that 12th man was being felt. the energy and excitement that was coming from the entire city, stopping and all eyes being on one Arrowhead Drive to see this playoff, this divisional championship game was amazing. And so, if there's ever a game where you have to feel like the moment, the slightest amount of advantage was given by the crowd, the fans, the energy. That's what that's what we said. That's what the Kansas City Chiefs offense used that to just raise their level of play to a higher level during that entire game, and definitely during that last 13 seconds in overtime.
So you're absolutely right about the seeding, because what did that seeding mean? That home field advantage, right? That home cooking. All right.
And no turnovers, not a lot of penalties. It was a pretty clean game. I mean, we could. Right. All that went right. It wasn't as. I think a lot of people thought this game was going to be a lot more muckier. It was going to be a lot of pass interference down the field, a lot of rerouting receivers, a lot of that ground game get to running, and a few holding calls, and I mean not many. We didn't see. I mean, it was a pretty clean played game.
So, if you're going to ask me what went wrong for the Bills, nothing until what, the 13 seconds. Are you ready to start taking notes, Stevie D?
No, I'm getting my notes on when I get an opportunity to speak.
So what went wrong for the Bills? First and foremost, I'm going to say coaching went wrong for the Bills. Coaching from the perspective, and if you listen to the post-game or the season-ending news conference from Sean McDermott, Sean is, and I will give him credit for this, Sean is not allowing any negativity to blow back onto his coaching staff or to his players. But I'm going to tell you, that kick at the end of the game with 13 seconds to go through the end zone went wrong for the Bills. What we saw when Josh Allen drove down the field and was able to hit Gabe Davis for that touchdown to take the lead, that's what movies are made of. That is what changes franchise, right? We all remember the championship game between the Cowboys and the 49ers and Dwight Clark's catch at the back of the end zone, right? It still plays today. It resonates today. That play from Allen to Gabe Davis would have resonated for years to come. But because of poor coaching, how you allow your special teams to just allow that ball to sail through the end zone. The squib kick, I'm sure, was talked about, but there was fear because you're talking about an oblong object that has a mind of its own, right? And there were some players that were slipping, and I'm sure they were afraid. Don't squib it, because then it could go out of bounds. They get the ball at the 40, well, they've cut half the field. But there's a simple thing that you've done in the past, and you tried and true. Just kick it high and deep, right? I don't care how much momentum you have. Even if you kicked it to the 10, if you kicked it that high, your special teams kick coverage would have been able to get down there. Look at who's on the field. Stevie D, you mentioned it earlier, right? Pringle, yeah, he's got speed, but he doesn't have Tyreek Hill speed. And you can get down there and you can cover that kick. That's going to take off 4, 5, 6 seconds off the clock. Unless he calls for a fair catch, which he's calling for a fair catch 15 yards further back. That went wrong. The next thing that went wrong is I'm looking at a defensive line that garnered 2 sacks, right? One of the sacks was by a defensive back because Mahomes went out before the line of scrimmage. So really just garnered 1 sack. That was Ed Oliver. But yet you're rushing 4 linemen. And you're leaving the middle open. And that allows that Kelsey seam pass. There should have been one guy, and I would have had 4 or 5 guys about 10 to 15 yards deep. Don't let anything in front of you. You go and you tackle it. But now you've covered that. And then I would have had the guys deeper, right? Play a cover 4, cover 5, whatever, right? Have a rover around there, whatever you're doing. But you wasted 4 bodies on a line of scrimmage that could have been used to kind of plug the zone. Didn't do that. And at the end of the day, I think of certain strategies, and Sean, certainly I'd like your feedback on this. I think of, you see WWJD, right? Well, what about WWBBD, right? Not Bell Biv DeVoe. What would Bill Belichick do, right, is the question. Because in my mind, and I asked this to Steve, and Stevie D came back and he's like, that's kind of cheap. I don't care that it's cheap, right?
Oh God, yeah, that's push. You're gonna go there?
It may be push, but I'm here to win a game. WWBBD, right? Kelsey and Hill come off the line. They get no further than 5 yards because I am holding them, tackling them, doing whatever, right? And they go down the ground. What happens? Time comes off the clock. Flag comes out.
3-yard penalty?
It's a 5-yard penalty for defensive holding. Not a problem. Come on up with 8 seconds to go. Do the same thing. Come on up another 5 yards. You would have been at the 35 with 3 seconds to go. And
strategy, from a fan perspective.
I'm walking home celebrating on the field. The Chief fans are saying, that's garbage, that's Bush, that's this. But you know what? I'm preparing for Cincinnati at home for a chance to go to the exhibition game. You probably would rewrite the rules, right? That's something that Belichick has done throughout his career, that they have to go back and re-examine the rules because he finds those loopholes. But what does Belichick have? Multiple exhibition game rings and titles. That's what he has. And what does Buffalo have? The 7 stages of grief.
Well, before you get to the 7 stages of grief, I won't go into a long thing about what I thought, but there's a couple of things that stand out. It comes back to the loss to the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars, especially the one of the Jaguars. Is the difference of you being at home and being on the road. Games that you had. I knew that was coming. But so
We're
that one.
Here to talk about the past.
Okay, my bad. All right. I'll fast forward here. Vincent, I talked to you about this, and when you talked about Sean McDermott and during the course of the year and things that you weren't happy about, I tend to watch Sean McDermott a little bit closer. And the one thing that it's coming out is that when you're coaching in the chaos and things are going sideways, how do you handle that as a coach? And there's some decision making there, how you handle the defense with 13 seconds left, how you handle the kickoff. And I'm just going to examine the kickoff. Okay. The kickoff happens and you kick through the end zone. We talked about it earlier with Pringle, not Hill. To me, you kick it high, you kick it around the 5-yard line, and you take the time off the clock. And what I mean by coaching in the chaos is that when you think of successful coaches, the real successful coaches, Bill Belichick is probably weighing in heavily on what's going on, and he's making changes of what to do. I'm not saying that he didn't, maybe, but when the Chiefs kicked that field goal, I mean when they scored the touchdown to take the lead, did Sean McDermott go over to his special teams coach and start having a conversation? How are we going to handle this situation? What are my options, right? You got the headset on. You got all your coaches. What do we do? Do we kick it deep? Do we look at who's your kick returner? Do we kick it at the back of the end zone? Do we kick it at the 5? Do we squib it, which I'm not a fan of? Do we squib it? I don't know if that happened, but it just seemed that decision-making, and it's always easy, Monday morning quarterback, but the first thing I was watching for was who's on the – and I'm on the couch, right? Who's on the field? And my thought is pop it up I didn't see Tyreek Hill. The play should be pop it up and take 4 to 5 seconds off that clock. To give 8 to 9 seconds. Because 13 seconds with 2 timeouts in the speed that Kansas City has, the game's not over with 13 seconds. It's not. It may seem like, oh my God, there's no way they're going to do it. But football people know that Mahomes and that offense is very special. With 13 seconds and 2 timeouts, if I make 2 plays like they did, I'm in field goal range. So we know what happened there. The other thing that I thought in the game is the tackling. I just thought the tackling by the Buffalo Bills defense was horrible. Look, Mahomes is a big dude, but they had him. They let him go. There was plays just that needed to be made that we gave what the Buffalo Bills. I was rooting for the Buffalo Bills. I
like that. You see what's happening here, Sean.
Well, it's a slip of the tongue because I was rooting because you guys were my preseason favorites, right? And you guys let me down. But either way, it was you had the tackles and you let them get away, and that was a theme that I saw throughout the game, which was disappointing to see. Allowing them to get the extra 5, 8, 10, 12 yards. The touchdown by Hill when he split the defenders. Poyer, I think his name was the player that took a horrible angle. That should never have gone for a touchdown. He should have been tackled at maybe the Buffalo 40-yard line, maybe the 45. I forget where he made that turn. But I watched it. I turned to my son Rich and I said, what a horrible angle. I'm yelling at the TV. What kind of angle was that? Seriously?
He flattened out. And then he dove to make the tackle, and you're catching air. That's all it was.
So those are the things that kind of stuck out to me, during the course of the game.
CBD, I'm glad you brought up that play. So, Sean, question for you. Okay, again, excuses that I'm not going to make, but they're questions. Tyreek Hill on that play catches it, goes to the sideline, throws up deuces. Right?
Penalty. That's a penalty. In the play, that's a penalty. You go 15 yards back from that point of action. 1st and 10 from the 35. So
that would have been because he hadn't scored, that touchdown would not have counted. That would have happened right there at the spot where he did that.
Yeah, from that spot, go back 15 yards, and it's 1st and 10.
That's what Vince thought. That's what
Bills
Vince
was thinking. Bills Mafia, hear it loud and clear. We got screwed.
Now, you would have probably given up the touchdown a couple plays later, but
right. No, in all fairness, that penalty, if they would have called it would have changed the entire dynamic of the game, right? Because they always say that you can't change history, right? So the events that would have happened, maybe it would have taken 2 or 3 more plays, 4. Maybe there's an interception. We hadn't had one all day. Maybe there's a fumble, right? But more than likely, based on the flow of the game, there would have been a touchdown. Now maybe a touchdown with 40 seconds, right? It took you a minute to get down the field to score that touchdown, right? So it would have changed the whole dynamic. Maybe the conversation is a little different that you came up short, right? You just ran out of time because of that, right? No, L. Right now, we're still part of the 7 stages of grief right now, right? So just so that you understand, that just don't want to let the eyes come out. And yes, Terry, it should be a do-over. So, okay, so I mean, there's clarification. We were going back and forth. Yeah. Would it have been a post-touchdown penalty? I'm disappointed to this that the rule for taunting was put in because Tyreek Hill did that to Antoine Winfield, and then Antoine Winfield reciprocated in that exhibition game, taunting Tyreek Hill, and then Tyreek Hill does it again mid-play when we've had taunting flags for far less, right? Yeah. Far less. You see the flag come out, and here it is on the biggest stage, and he does what they did. He did what he did that caused the rule, and they just ignored it.
Yeah. Well, and there was no hiding from that, right? You're running down the field doing it, and you have enough line judges around the field to see it. Nobody can say that they didn't see it. It was for all to see, and it just wasn't called. I don't like the taunting rule. I think the taunting rule is perfect for that play. That shouldn't be allowed. But I think when you're coming up in the emotion of a play and you're exchanging words with another player, I mean that's the sport of the game.
I don't even have
that should stay.
I don't have a problem with that. I really don't have a problem with that. I remember now.
If you don't like it, don't let him score.
I'm one of the biggest fans of Prime. Prime would start at like the 30, hand behind the neck, high stepping from the 30, right? Loved it, right? Yeah. Loved it. So I don't have a problem with that. But don't all of a sudden swallow the whistle when you've been blowing the whistle all season long from week 1 all the way.
Can you imagine he blows that whistle?
Again,
that's another one when they're underneath the thing.
Bill's life, right? This is Bill's life. That's all it is. Yeah. So I've been talking about the 7 stages of grief, right? So Sunday night, I was definitely in phase 1, shock and denial. There is no doubt about that.
I had to do wellness checks.
You did. Okay. I can't believe this just happened, right? I can't believe that I just saw what I don't think I saw, right? With Jack Buck, right?
Oh, yeah. I don't believe what I just saw with the Kirk Gibson home run.
All of that. So then once the shock and denial wore off, which took a little longer than expected, then I went through pain and guilt, right? I hurt, right? I didn't even play and I hurt, right? And then I was guilt. The guilt was, man, should I have Mrs. D change that cover? Right? Should I have done this? Should I have, what could I have done? Right? But again, this is Bill's Mafia. This is what we all go through. Then I go back to anger, right? And I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to hear from anybody. Don't patronize me. Don't tell me how this was the greatest game, right? Because technically, the 3 greatest games in NFL history besides the Ice Bowl was Super Bowl 25, was this fraud of a Music City Miracle, and now this game.
Wait a minute now. You're discarding the comeback by Buffalo against the Oilers.
They just call that the greatest comeback. They don't call it the greatest game. The 3 greatest games. Now, well, it used to be 2. Now it's 3. So, anger was flowing in.
So right now, is this stage 6 right now, what you're describing right now?
Well, no.
There's a lot of venom still coming out right now.
Stage 4 goes to depression, right? And the depression is the one with me, and I think that's where I am. Because I'm not yet at the upward turn, right? Stage 5 is the upward turn. I'm not there. I tell you that right now. I am not there. And I sit there and I reflect on this, and it's just unreal, right? I think I went back to 1 where I'm in shock, right? It is unreal. I can't get over the hurdle. And, I'm blaming everybody, right? And then I come back, right? And I don't get to the dark place, right? Because we're used to it. Again, we're used to this. We just go through all of this, right? And then there's going to be a time we come out of this, right? And there's going to be the upward turn, right? That's step 5. Then you're going to have reconstruction, and then you're going to have acceptance and hope. And that's all going to happen. I know I'm going to get there because I'll start looking at where we drafted, who are the free agents, how are we going to do this? Good luck to Brian Dable as he goes to New York. Ken Dorsey, can you fill these shoes? Leslie Frazier, what are you doing? Right? All of that kind of stuff. But I'm not there yet. I'm not even close to being there yet. And as I said, I think I revert. I think I go back. And it's like rinse and repeat. I don't know how long this is going to go. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how long this is going to go. It hurts. It hurts. And what hurts even more is the fact that, man, I got coaxed into making a bet.
And you're out money.
It's L 7 stages next week. Yeah, thanks L. We have from Terry See, she's in the depression stage. She feels it. It figures we just cannot have night. That's right, Terry. It's just what happens. But yeah, so I got goaded into this bet, right? And it was over wings versus Kansas City barbecue. I didn't want to do that, right? So then we opted to go ahead and make it for a donation. Oshai Children's Hospital versus 15 in the Mahomes. And so I lost. And as a man of my word.
Way to go.
9 joined.
So as a man of my word, not sure what happened there, but as a man of my word, I made a donation to 15 in the Mahomes. Now I was going to try to put up the receipt for you to see there, Sean. But
I've seen it. I've seen it, man. I've seen the receipt. You are a man of your word, man. Listen, man, a scholar, a gentleman.
Hold on. Did you see how much the donation was for?
$100.17. So that's you just being petty. That's the pettiness. That's the pettiness of you.
That is not petty.
I owe you 17 cents.
No, I don't know. If you really want to be fair, since it was such a great game, teams going back and forth being decided by a coin flip, maybe you do half to Oshai Children's Hospital.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Why don't you do it this year? Since it was such an instant classic, you're calling it petty.
If you would like to go double or nothing, we got the Cincinnati Bengals that came into town. You can take Joe Burrow.
I got no skin in the game for them, but that's okay. The 17 cents reflects Josh Allen. That's right, because Josh Allen played his ass off, and because Josh Allen is certainly not only the young gun, but he is one of the future, right? I'm not going to discredit or discount Mahomes, but what we saw from Josh Allen, Mahomes can't do what Josh did. Mahomes has special talent that he can do what he does, but he can't do what Josh does. They're two separate skill sets. And see, I'm not throwing shade, and there's no slight. When you look at what Josh, Patrick said, hey, listen, Mahomes is not running over anybody. Mahomes is not hurdling anybody. Now, Mahomes is going to scramble, is going to throw from different arm angles, going to throw the ball 50 yards, going to hit his guys. He is going to do that. He's going to make special plays.
Who had more rushing yards?
Okay, he did.
Okay. I thought we were talking about running over people, hurling, and all that.
Yeah, but okay, so look, you really want to go there? I mean, look at the playoff stats. How many interceptions does touchdown to interception ratio? Leads all time based on a certain number of throws. It's Josh. I'm not throwing shade, Sean. I'm not trying to get into this debate because remember, right now, I'm in anger and depression right now.
Josh will have an opportunity next year because Pat Mahomes just set a record for 3,109 yards passing in the first 5 years of his career. So next year, if Josh makes it to the playoffs,
well, how about if Mahomes makes it to the playoffs?
Well,
let's see what Mahomes can do without Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Let's see what can happen there, right? Your underhand passes, a 5-yard drag route turns into a 70-yard. Let's see if we can tackle like Stevie D said.
Did Dawson Knox play? Yes,
that's a real good question because he dropped his first 2, and I think he had one more catch. I think that was it. We didn't see that, but we didn't need to.
I was looking for a good battle between Dawson Knox and Kelce. I thought the 2 tight ends.
You would have had a great battle with Gabriel Davis putting up 200 plus at 4 NFL record.
Yeah, Tyreek went for 150.
Yeah, right, he didn't go for 204. He didn't go for 204. Come on now.
Yeah, that sounds like the 378 yards of passing that Mahomes had versus the 320 something
with 2 extra possessions. Yeah, 2 extra possessions. I didn't hear you count that. Look at the average possession.
Look, we can go this stat and that stat. There's only really one stat that really happens. I'm trying to, Terry. I'm trying.
Which one is that?
I'm failing.
Who created that next week?
Right.
Who created tomorrow?
Look, Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the day, what I worry about Josh Allen with his running ability is when you watch the quarterbacks that came before him in the late Steve McNair, right? And how his body broke down from taking the hits. And you watch Cam Newton, his body break down. What you worry about Josh Allen, who, in no disrespect to Cam Newton, he's not this quarterback Josh Allen is. Steve McNair was a special quarterback. I don't know if I would put him as better than Josh Allen because he came in, decades before Josh Allen came in and played. But at some point, that body taking those hits, it's going to catch up, right?
I agree. I absolutely agree. The one good thing is that the rules keep changing in favor of the quarterback as opposed to when Cam was there. And Cam, he came out there and told you that they do not care about Cam, right? Cam would take hits just
with no flags.
Exactly, no flag. I do think that Josh, for a multitude of reasons, I do think Josh is going to be the benefactor. But to your point, your body can only take so much and do so much at that position, right? Unless you're under the PED 12 plan, where you can play until you're 44 and look like you're 24.
It's the plant-based diet. It's the plant-based diet.
Sure. Brought to you by Alex Guerrero and his labs. But no, in all fairness, Josh is, he's reaching that peak age, right? And then you said your body starts to break down, right? And there's certain things, and you're going to slow down. Your game has to change. It has to mold with that. And you're absolutely right. If he keeps running like that, he won't last. The question is, will his game, which we've seen it develop and improve, right? They said accuracy. He came out there and showed you that he does have that accuracy. He does have the touch. He can throw it short. He can throw it far. So he does have the ability from the pocket to be mobile without taking those hits. He does have that in his back pocket as kind of like his ace to be able to escape. But when you start constantly calling, basically just a quarterback draw or an option route with the quarterback, that's not good. That's student body left, student body right, and that is, and so I do worry about that. I don't think he's going to suffer the same fate though as Cam. I just don't see that happen.
I just, when you see a young quarterback that's, elite, right? You don't want to see a kid like that get hurt, and then you miss out on watching a special player for many years to come. When he hurdled that player and did the spin move, that's special stuff right there.
What player?
Was it Willie Gay or was it Snead? He hurdled the guy.
Snead.
Was it Snead?
38. Yeah, he jumped over him.
Yeah, he hurdled him and then did a spin.
This last game?
Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, because Singletary was on the ground. That wasn't the big hurdle, right? The big hurdle was back in week 5 when he jumped over the linebacker. This one, he did hurdle. I'm with you. But the two guys were on the ground, basically, and he hurdled over them to keep going.
Yeah, I'm just saying he hurled it and then kept his balance and did a spin. And
you know that was trying to be funny. No, because in week 5, he did the real hurdle, like the Anthony Barr hurdle, where
where the guy was almost standing up and went over the
yeah. I'm tracking.
So, but I mean, I just when you watch that play, because you talked about the difference between him and Mahomes. Mahomes won't do that. He'll run with the football, but he won't take a hit. He'll slide or go out of bounds, right? Mahomes will drop the shoulder and embarrass you like he did against the Jets when he ran over Michael Carter II, right? And that's who Josh Allen is, right? He's going to use that body and he's going to run over some people.
No comment from Sean on that one?
No.
Okay. Hey,
I'm saving my comments for about the future of the Bills. I'm waiting for the future of the Bills to be talked about.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's go to that because it's going to be interesting. If I had my druthers, Sean McDermott would be out. I tell you all the time, there's certain coaches that can take you to certain points along the way.
Can I just ask you, who do you want then?
I don't have anybody, so he has to stay there right now. I don't have that name. But you need a coach that can bring it home. To Steve's point, where you don't get and let the situation get bigger than what it is, right? You're all the way through. Those are the coaches that, sometimes they call them the gunslingers, sometimes, just Riverboat Ron. And I'm not saying Rivera would be the guy I want, but that, they get those nicknames. You need a coach that, is in tune on all three phases. And I'll tell you why I don't think that he was on that kick is because uh, there would have been a conversation coming to the sideline with Tyler Bass if he had not done what he was told, right? Um, so when I look at the future, the good thing is that Brandon Beane did a great job for this season in locking up some players. That's a very good thing. There are some key free agents, whether it be Hughes, who I think has played his last game as a Buffalo Bill, unless he's willing to come back on a 1 year, very team friendly type deal. I think he's played his last game as a Buffalo Bill. Maybe he played his last game overall. Right, he's getting up there in age. There are a couple of players, but Bates, who came in on the offensive line, who was the replacement for Feliciano and Ike Buckner, when he came in and got his shot, he solidified that offensive line. And, they played well over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season with him in there. Um, and I think that helps that offensive line, and that line will stay intact, right? When you look at the wide receiving core, obviously, probably Manuel Sanders is gone. I believe that Cole Beasley may be done. You have Isaiah McKenzie as a free agent. Now that's a big question mark because he's been in and out of the doghouse, but he does play a special role, and especially when he had that 11 catch game out of the slot. If you let Beasley go, he steps right in. You have the rookie Marquez Stevenson, didn't really have enough game time um, to show that he would be that filler. But Gabriel Davis absolutely proved that he's going to be on the other side of Stephon Diggs. And so that just leaves your running back, right? And I've said this all along. Devin Singletary, good back, not a number one back, right? And I think they will be looking for a number one back. There's all kinds of rumors that are floating around now that I don't give a lot of credibility to. One I would love to see there, just because personally, my style of a running back, Leonard Fournette, right, is a free agent out of Tampa. If you could bring him up there, that's that type of power back that I'd like to have, and then you could have that change of pace with Devin Singletary, who's hard to get down, right? He's a forward running back, so that would be what I'd like to see there. On the other side of the ball, uh, I'm not sold on Rousseau. He had some splashes. I thought Basham improved when he got in. AJ Epinesa, I'm not a fan. Was not a fan when they drafted him. I came on this show talking about that was a waste. J.K. Dobbins was my guy who I wanted back then. But we'll see. What I really was impressed with was the play of Ed Oliver all year. Right, it seemed like that light finally went on. He and Harrison Phillips could definitely do some work there. Linebacking core, you have Edmonds and Milano. I'd like to see what they do with that third linebacker because I like AJ Klein, but I kind of want them to come out of this nickel as their base defense and really allow that third linebacker to be out there, be that run stuffer. Let Edmonds go sideline to sideline. Let Milano focus on covering the tight ends, covering in the flats, do that type of work. Then you look at your corners, right? And you have Levi Wallace and Dane Jackson, who both stepped in admirably, being the 1-2 defensive backs for the Bills, especially with Trey going down. I do think that we need to get, if we could find another that you would call a number one corner. Now, remember, we got Trey at 27 when we made the trade with Kansas City, right? Swap at 10 to 27. We were able to pick up Trey out of LSU late.
Was that the trade for Pat Mahomes?
It was. So if you're drafting 25, right, in theory, you can get that quality defensive back at that 25th pick. And that would be my first pick, right? I'm not going to draft anywhere else but that. and then I start to go to depth. The biggest question is going to be the coaching staff, though, right? It really is. Yeah, I've talked all this that I would let McDermott go, and the one thing I will say for Sean is that midseason, he was pre-midseason, he was very, very, very conservative, uh, to the point where it may have cost us a couple games. And you started to see as the season started to unfold where he became more aggressive, whether it be going for it on fourth down, whether it be challenging some calls, and it actually worked in his advantage, and that was very good. So, and for all I say with that, the coaching wouldn't be with McDermott. It would be what's going to happen with Dable, what's going to happen with Frazier. I have a feeling that Leslie Frazier is still going to be the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And I don't say that with a sigh because I like what he's done. I just need Leslie to kind of bring the 21st century and not coach like you were coaching the Minnesota Vikings with that prevent defense, right? Utilize and get the talent there so you can be a little bit more aggressive, and that may help your front line. Offensively, I know long-winded answer, Sean, but just kind of going all the way through. Offensively, Brian Dable will be the biggest question mark, right? What do you get? I have a feeling that they're going to stay internally. I have a feeling that it's going to be a promotion for Ken Dorsey, Sean McDermott guy. Good pedigree, has established a relationship with Josh. He was really the creator and the builder in the transformation of Josh. Yeah, that those are field goal posts. So I'm good with Tyler Bass. Don't worry about that. I know where you're going. But yeah, so I Dorsey there. But if it wasn't for the fact of the relationship he had with Josh, personally, I may look out for somebody that may be out there with a proven track record of being a little bit more innovative um, in scheme wise, right? Um, there's a lot of top college coaches and coordinators that are out there. I don't see too many young ones in the NFL that I would bring in, but that's where I would be looking at. And then maybe I know we're cap strung, but maybe you try to find that big name, that coveted free agent. You know, Von Miller's a little up in age, but he still was wreaking and it still is wreaking havoc, right? Maybe you could get somebody like that, right? Just to uh, just take it up a whole nother level up to what you had as that number one defense. So that's where I am.
It sounds pretty detailed to me. I guess I would say the biggest loss that I think the Bills are going to have to deal with is the offense defense coordinators possibly getting head coaching jobs. I've seen it happen before. Obviously, with the Falcons, you had Matty Ice being Dan Quinn. Shanahan was his OC. He was keeping them on track, on time. He was always on them about his delivery, plant foot, arming, all those things. And then Shanahan leaves, and the next quarterback coach comes in, the OC comes up, and all of a sudden Matty Ice looks like he forgot how to throw the ball again. Sometimes that offensive coordinator is certain things he sees in a quarterback that can keep him on rhythm, on target. And I would be concerned, like I said, I would be concerned, not because I have anything against the Buffalo Bills, but if there was a situation where Dabo left, I would be concerned who's in the building that's going to keep Josh Allen trending as far as, because he had an accuracy problem year one. It seemed like Dabo fixed that. And so whatever, that relationship quarterback OC that had him going from, one of the lowest accuracies to now one of the highest accuracy as far as quarterbacks, I would try to find out like who's in control of that, who can keep him, throwing the ball accurately, because I think that's an important part of his game that he doesn't start to lose that. But besides that, I think the Bills are built to win, man. They're in a great position. They're going to be a dominant team for the next 4 or 5 years as long as they control the cap. So I looked up the cap. I did $5 million of cap room. Obviously, the salary cap is going to jump back up. It's about $240 Right now, y'all are at 203, so you're going to have about $35, $40 million of cap room to go out and sign some people. But you had about 10, like you said, you got about 10 free agency on offensive defense side of the ball that y'all going to have to find out what y'all going to do with.
You know, the good thing is that the bulk of the work was done last year, right, by what Bean was able to do. There are some players, right? There are some legitimate starters or key rotational players that you're going to have to make decisions on. Mario Addison, and there's another one. You have to make a decision on what you're going to do with them. But when I look at the core is intact. That's the good thing. And Sean, the one thing I will say, and as much as you reference Dable, I really believe that it's Dorsey is the one that helped bring Josh along over Dable. But the question is, right, Dorsey being a quarterback, does he start to take the ball out of Josh's hands running and really try to move it into a passing game? I mean, we're guessing, right? He doesn't even have the job yet. Dable doesn't even have the job yet. So, all right. So we've pushed that. There's happenings in the NFL real quick. I want to talk about this, guys. Sean Payton leaves the New Orleans Saints and says he wants to spend time away. Said he called Drew and wanted to see what life was in the broadcast. Sean Payton is not a broadcaster. I listen to him, whether it be interviews, podium. He's not a broadcaster. He's just biding his time until a certain coach gets himself fired, whose team wears a star on their helmet, and he's going to Dallas.
Sean jumped off a burning ship. That ship was going down, and I don't know if the future was going to be so bright over there. And he left the sinking ship, and he's looking for.
He lost it. Given Taysom Hill,
I'm just saying he's gonna go to Fool's Gold over in Jerry's world. All right. But I mean, ultimately, I think that's where he ends up at his next coaching gig after a year off to save face a little bit, maybe recharge that battery for a year, allow McCarthy to put one more dagger in himself before they throw him off to the side.
So that means I got another year for McCarthy for Coach of the Year.
I still can't believe you picked McCarthy for Coach of the Year. I still don't understand that one.
Well, there was logic to it,
right? With Dak, I get it. It's Mike McCarthy.
I'm gonna throw my dark horse in is that Sean Payton calls Aaron Rodgers and calls Adams and say, "Y'all follow me to New York. Big lights, big city. Let's take over New York. We're gonna keep the running back. Offensively, we just gonna move mountains. The defense is already right. That's one thing they can do in New York. They can play defense. Offensively, they do got some other weapons as far as wide receivers.
Who? Shepard can't stay on the field.
Tony, they got young kid out of Florida.
Darius out of Florida. They got the young kid out of Florida.
Well, they got Galladay.
They got so they got. Look, you can put
Tony's been a disappointment up in New York.
That's because it's Danny Dimes.
You bring Devontae Adams to any team.
He is not.
You ain't got to worry about.
Sean, I thought we could have been friends, Sean. If that were to happen, I don't know if we could ever speak again.
No, I'm good with that.
Because you're just putting the curse. You're putting the curse. That's all I need is Aaron Rodgers.
That's a different conference.
DVD. That means Dable doesn't.
New York.
It means Dable doesn't go to the Giants. I love it. Dable stays with the Bills.
Dable's getting a job.
I think Dable's going to end up in Minnesota.
Dable's got a job.
Where does Flores go? I had Flores going to Minnesota.
I had Flores going to Jacksonville, but then there was a rumor that Leftwich, who you called in the beginning, looked like it was a done deal, and now Jacksonville's saying, "Wait a minute, it's not a done deal."
Oh, that's a done deal.
I think you're right. I'm wrong on that one because I had Flores going to Jacksonville.
But I like Sean. When we were going back,
all right, I go to Flores. Flores is going to the Saints. He gonna talk to Deshaun Watson and say, "Hey man, come with me down to New Orleans. We're going to put you on the field. We're going to serve the suspension. The team sucks anyway. I'm going to play defense. We're going to be a 500 team. You serve your suspension. And in 2024, we're going to light New Orleans back up. We're gonna get them back to glory.
That's what I had that scenario in Minnesota. But now I heard you say serve the suspension. He did serve the suspension.
No, they didn't activate him. They never activated him. The NFL, that ain't so suspension. Just because you listen as an organization, because you chose not to play him. They want their blood. They want their blood.
So if he suits up, they were going to suspend him.
I feel like if he suits up, then his allegations, the silver suit becomes something derogatory against the Shield. They can then put him on the commissioner's list. It's the same thing with AB. Remember with AB, they would never suspend him until he actually became an active member when he tried to pursue a job with the Raiders and the Saints or whoever else tried to get him. And then he got to Tampa and had to sit out those 6 games.
It just feels like Sean. It just feels like there was a backdoor deal between the Texans and Roger, and that somewhere it was you're going to serve 12 or 16, 17 games. You're going to serve that, but we're not going to publicly say it. And they are not going to play. And, it makes no sense that they didn't play him at all, especially when they were down. I mean, they were down multiple quarterbacks.
Well, right? Also, but we got to realize. I mean, he said he not playing with him, so it wasn't about them making him play.
Yeah, but you know what? You activate him, and then you deduct the salary to put him on a list to get paid because he doesn't want to play. Something's fishy down there. I wasn't born yesterday.
I don't know what position will take the field when they tell you they're not, but I know a quarterback. You ain't gonna hike nobody the ball to say they don't want it.
Sure.
End up throwing right into the other teams. All he like it ain't.
That's fine. That's fine. But then I suspend you for conduct detrimental to the team.
Because I suck. You gonna suspend me because I suck? Like that's what I'm saying. So if I tell you I'm not playing for y'all, that takes the whole. Again, you don't. There's nobody in the.
When you start, okay, so I can make you active.
Yes. If
right.
You want to.
I can make you active. Because right now I'm paying you to sit on your couch at home. I'm going to pay you and make you show up to the facility. If that's the game you want to play, I'll have you come. I'll make you sit in the corner. I don't care. I'm paying you to sit at home.
I think coach he got in there and he felt like, listen, it's better for him not to be like whatever is happening with him. It's better for this team to try to move on and grow. And he won some games with Mills. So I think he found, look, man, this is a team sport. Ain't no one man bigger than the team. We're going to move on. I coach the guys that are in the building. I don't make I'm not going to force nobody to be here against their will. I ain't going to, that's the management got to decide that. So I don't think any of that falls on Dave Culley. I think Dave Culley did an amazing job to pull that team together and get a few wins with the staff he had and the players he had. So,
David Culley got a raw deal. No doubt about it. I mean, he was dealt the worst situation. I'm trying to think of another coach that was dealt the situation that he was dealt in, right? Watson wanted his guy, didn't get his guy.
Steve Wilkes was dealt a bad hand, even though Kingsbury has come in and done well.
Right.
It was 16 games. I have Josh Rosen. It was 16 games.
Right, right. But that's right. The organization, though, where it turns out to be a better decision is that they cut bait. And they said, we made the wrong decision. Somewhere in that 1 year, they said, we made the wrong decision. We're not in that locker room. We're not in those meetings. At some point during the season, they said, we got the wrong guy. And they cut bait. They hired the coach. They drafted the quarterback. They got rid of the other quarterback. And they've had some success there. It hasn't turned into playoff success, but they've had a 10-win season. They're trending in a much better direction.
Sure.
David Culley came into we talk about a sinking ship. They're trading everybody. Then you got the controversy around Watson, and then he's not playing. To Sean's credit, he drafted this kid, wasn't expected to play. He gets in there. He gets 4 wins. He gets wins against teams you're surprised that he beat with a team with not a lot of talent. And then the guy gets fired. And it's just like, wait a minute. Like, you didn't give me anything over here. There's a thing I can't say because we're PG rated here. Yeah. But, the old saying, you give me and I make, right? So.
Well, if I can win
I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying, right?
If a coach can win 4 games with a backup quarterback and no support from the staff, no support from the general manager, then what you think that man can do if he actually had a team that actually gave him some support?
That's right.
I agree.
I think he's a good man. We got off. What about the Chiefs' future? We talked about the Buffalo Bills. What about the Chiefs' future?
You're still playing. You're still playing, so it doesn't count. We can't talk about your future. You're still playing right now, right? You don't
on the list, I think he had Chiefs.
I told you I got that itchy trigger.
Oh, the Chiefs were on there? The Chiefs on there?
Yeah.
What's next for both teams?
What's next for both teams?
Well, the next is a win against Cincinnati. That's what's next.
Cincinnati can't block. They can't block for the quarterback. 9 sacks last week. That D line for the Chiefs. They look. The chum is in the water. The water's real bloody out here in Kansas City. That sea of red. It ain't just the fans.
I will say this though, Sean. I will say this. I don't know. Is Matthew going to be back out of protocol?
Yeah, he's practiced. Yeah, he practiced today. So Matthew and Fenton coming back.
Because those receivers, if they can just give Joe just a few seconds, those receivers, especially Jamar Chase, I can't see anybody stopping Jamar Chase. I mean, I'm afraid that Jamar Chase is going to try to break Gabriel Davis's record. The record's going to stand for 7 days, right?
I think he almost did a few weeks ago. I think he had 178.
It sure did.
For 3 touchdowns. So,
I thought he went for 200 plus in that game.
That was regular season. He went for 200.
Yeah. Didn't he have 266 against the Chiefs a few weeks ago? Wasn't that the number?
Was it 266?
I thought it was 178, but it's all right. Either way,
Where's our statistician?
All those numbers are big. Those are big numbers from a receiver.
I think we know what's next for the Chiefs. You need to draft defensive backs in the draft.
Well, that's not really been our mantra here in Kansas City. We like to wait for other guys to cut their first-round picks, like Darnell, what's his name? Darnett from the Raiders. Arnett.
Oh, yeah. The guy good. Yeah.
Ohio State. Then we got Baker from the Giants. So we like to wait for the first rounders to not make it with other teams, and we'll bring them in, keep the tires a little bit, teach them a little something. So we just gonna stick to hey man, let's stick to our guns. We're gonna do what we do. It's so far that's 4 straight AFC Championship games. So I don't think you're gonna see nobody changing no methods here in Kansas City.
Jamar Chase against the Kansas City Chiefs. Because our statistician is nowhere to be found today or any week.
Where is our statistician? We have an intern. Did you know that? We have an intern?
Yeah, he's at baseball tonight.
Yeah, his priorities are way out of whack, right? He's going to play a kid's game when he has a real adult job here for him.
Jamar Chase, 12 targets, 11 catches for 266, 3 touchdowns, average 24 yards per catch.
Love it
in the game.
We can roll those numbers back out there again.
Who won that game?
The Bengals.
So
who do you got then this week, then, Sean? You got the Bengals or the Chiefs?
Oh, the revenge tour is on.
Well, that's what we said. You saw what happened there.
Y'all ain't got no. You already won the game this year. You can't get no double revenge.
Revenge was from last year. Regular season don't count.
Yeah, for us it do. Yeah, for us, our list it counts. We got some for those Bengals. We know what that offensive line has or don't have. So we gonna.
Is Spagnuolo gonna cover Chase, or what is he gonna do? He's just gonna not put anybody on him like he did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see if the quarterback is still standing after halftime. The way that offensive line, 5 sacks in the first half, 9 sacks in the game.
How many sacks in that first game for the Chiefs against Burrow?
I think we had 4, but we missed 5 of them.
So you had 9 on the board too, is what you say?
Literally, we had them at 5 of the times where he slipped out of it, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. So
I know that all too well.
Yeah, it was a. It's gonna be a good game.
I don't think so. And
I really don't either, but I mean,
here's where I think you have to be careful. Is the high of the high from the previous week. You're not going to reach that same level of a high. It's just no disrespect to Cincinnati. It's just different, right? It's so different. I think the rivalry that's been established between Mahomes and Allen, let alone, right? Who could remember they were out there having a competition in snow, right? Who could throw the ball the furthest? Who could throw it out of the stadium, right? This was the rivalry between the two, right? All of that was the pregame, the fodder leading up until these last couple of years in the playoffs. And as I said last week, this past Sunday, this was Ali Frazier, right? You against Cincinnati is Tyson Spence.
Yeah, but you're experienced, right? You got Andy Reid, right? Spagnuolo from the defensive side. Not that you guys played defense last week, but I just think they're a veteran team that's played. They've won a Super Bowl. They've lost a Super Bowl. This is their fourth straight AFC Championship game. I mean, I don't know if that comes into play.
You don't see the letdown. You don't see the letdown for such. You don't see that letdown.
Now with this team, maybe a more inexperienced team. You can say that. I just don't see it. They're too well seasoned. These guys. They've been in so many big games. So I don't. Me personally.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Look at he's still trying to get OWS After Dark.
I got to be honest with you. SLT.
Meeting. My man says, let's have a production meeting.
But it's hard to have that type of meeting when you go back a couple of texts ago and he says he's doing the soccer patrol. How do you come up and doing the soccer thing and then talk about After Dark?
This is a whole new age. It's a whole new world. Yeah. You see it all over.
Hey, Vince, I don't know who that young man is, but my mom's maiden name is Turner, so I got to make sure that ain't my cuz, y'all. Right. So
yeah,
Turner. My mom is Turner from Charlottesville, Virginia. So if he got folks coming out of Charlottesville, Virginia, that Madison area, then y'all gotta leave him alone.
Sean, this is Lamar that was on the show a few weeks back when we had all four of us.
The shoe with all the shoes.
Yes.
You know what? He kind of looked like my cousin, to the truth. So he probably is. He's probably family.
We all family.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a family show.
That's what I've been trying to tell you from the get-go. Come on,
we all family.
Welcome to the kingdom.
No. Again, I got an itchy trigger finger.
That's why I said it quick, man. I said it quick. I didn't go beyond that. I said it quick and let it go.
It's Bills Mafia, ride or die. All right, well, yeah. Well, can I say that this was therapeutic? No.
Yes, it was. Come on, it was.
I got upset again. I was all the way to step 5, and then
back to 1.
Yeah. There he is again. We all family till we cross the border.
Well, you guys better be my family, because once I cross that border, my family here won't want me no more.
Oh, that's true. But it had some sessions, or it had some moments of a session to be therapeutic. You have to, I guess, just keep getting it out. Just exfoliate. Just let it just come out. As I said, if you look at it, it's going to take time. There's going to be a point where, and some members of Bills Mafia are there. Others are still. I mean, some of us are still in disbelief. It's going to be like that. But as you know, it is what it is. This is Buffalo, ride or die. We'll always bleed red, white, and blue. Know that we are truly America's team. We're international, and it's always good to be a Bills fan. And the fans that showed up to the airport to welcome the team home, the fans that have called into different sports talk, the fans that want to sit down and just talk. We're ride or die, and it was a tough one. It highs and lows. I will never watch the game again. We'll never watch the game again because I know what's going to happen. But up to a certain point, it was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. I can say that. But
you tell Milano, you got to tell Milano, watch out for that out and up back shoulder fade. I don't know who could cover that. Nobody could cover that.
Yeah.
Where was your trigger finger there? All of a sudden, your finger got a cramp?
Yeah.
It was a tough route.
So.
You just muted him? Oh, God.
Go ahead. It was a tough route. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, you've come into the den, right? We're getting attacked left and right. You know, these little jabs, right? I want to talk about the donation. Got hit. Oh, yeah, the 17 cents, right? That was showing love. That was from Josh Allen. That was on my part on behalf of Josh Allen. But then
it should have been 113 cents. It should have been 113 cents.
Are you crazy? My when I count, I go 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, right? 13 is no longer part of my numeric equations. I have disavowed anything to 13. If I go to the store and they want to charge me $13, I'll say make it 14.
Gabriel Davis.
He's got to change his number.
Gabriel Davis.
Got to change his number. Got to change his number. I don't want to see 13, especially colon 13. What? No. But again, as we
he change his number next year.
You see, Beckham changed his number, so I mean it's quite easy. Go to 3. But
we talk to that young man in the offseason.
And we need to. Hook it up. See if you can bring him on, and then we'll have him and you talk. Yeah, I'll be right there to support him.
I'm okay. I'm okay talking to players, man. Like, at the end of the day, it's all business. He wear that Buffalo uniform right now, but in about 4 seasons, when the Chiefs start calling them.
All I'm going to say is look at all of those Bills, part of the 80s and 90s Bills that have made the 716 their home. They live, die, eat, sleep the red, white, and blue of Buffalo Bills.
Do them a favor and get them a home playoff game.
Okay. So it was a pleasure having Sean on. And so as we go to wrap this one up, CBD, it was good. Again, a little therapeutic. Gracious that, me being the bigger man I see, inviting Sean back out. He thought he was going to bully me for a second time, saying, unless you're scared to bring me back on. No, we brought you on, Sean, and we're glad to have you. Remember, we still appreciate you and call you the glue. So, I mean, you're always still welcome here. But to all of our listeners, our subscribers, we thank you. We thank you for contributing to the show. We ask that, share it, pass it along to a friend, give a like, give a subscribe. If you're driving, if you're just sitting at work, you want to listen, go to your favorite podcasting platform and you can, listen to Official Word Sports at that point. So for my co-host, Stevie D, I'm Vince, and we'll talk to you soon.